And and this is,
Is he liking it?
she has more time and better resources than I do all day long on.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody to the Laverne Planning Commission regular meeting of October 30th, 2018 at 6 p.m. First item of business, we do have a quorum, and approve the meeting minutes from September 25th, 2018 regular meeting.
It's in their
Motion
packet.
accepted, submitted.
It's in their
We have
packet.
a motion to accept as submitted. We have a second.
A second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I made
All
sure.
opposed? Meeting minutes pass. First item of business, site plan, Middle Tennessee Express, requested by Civil Site Design Group, property located at 161 Jones Boulevard, tax map 17, parcel 7.13, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Mr. Career. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This item has deferred, and they're planning to come in November.
Thank you, sir. Next item, site plan requested by DCI Inc. for addition to Maxium Crane, property located on Old Waldron Road, tax map 15M, Group E, parcel 12, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Waldron Road Partners, LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is the Maxim Crane facility located on Old Waldron Road. And the site's currently under construction. You can see that in these pictures. And they came through this planning commission in January and got their final approval. And then later on, after construction started, they decided that they needed to make a change in the rear area of the building and their concrete washdown area. So they're gonna do a small addition in the rear. So this is the side that shows the bay doors, and then now we're at the corner. You can see this is the rear part of the building back here, and then there's one more shot of the rear. So this is Old Waldron Road right here. And the building that's approved is 14,700 square feet, and that's currently under construction. And the sidewalk has been installed, and it looks very nice. So that's already there, and they're just asking for this small addition to the site. The site is 10.8 acres, and you can see there outlined in the blue. So it's a fairly large site. And there were no technical comments at the workshop 2 weeks ago, and so they didn't have any work to do on that. And we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I think they've been addressed. We'll make a motion to approve as submitted, please.
I have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item. Site plan requested by Frederick J. Gogulia for addition to Hot Topic, property located at 6001 Reliance Drive, tax map 17, parcel 37.01, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Hot Topic, Tennessee. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This item has deferred indefinitely.
Thank you, sir. Next item. Site plan requested by Dale and Associates for addition to Nakarata Volvo, property located on New Paul Road. Tax map 17, parcels 38 and 40, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Patriot LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is the Nakarado Volvo on New Paul Road that's been operating for several years. And they are here tonight requesting site plan approval for an office addition. It is a very small addition. It's 370 square feet. And the buildings that are currently on the site are 46,000 square feet and 21,000 square feet. So as a percentage, 370 barely registers. But you can see on the plan they submitted, this is the area of the office. And it is on the front of the building that faces I-24 and there's some views. That would be the southeast side facing Murfreesboro, and this is the front that faces I-24. And over in this area is where the 370 square foot addition is being proposed over here. So they have indicated that the office addition will match the architectural design of the current building. And other than that, there were no technical items either on this item 2 weeks ago, so everything is in order with that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have any questions or comments from the board?
Chairman, I think we addressed this heavily at the workshop, and they've done everything we asked them to do, and with that, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item. Preliminary plat, Lieutenant Frank Walkup subdivision, Phase 2, requested by Womble and Associates. Property located off Jones Mill Road east of Fergus Road, tax map 14, PO parcel 24.13, R1 low density residential zoning district, property owned by Abnon Shriebman. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project proposes 14 single-family lots. It is zoned R1, and there's no rezoning request and no zoning change. This is Phase 2 of the project, and it's 6.1 acres total. And again, this will add 14 lots. The lot widths are 100 feet. For 13 of the 14 lots are 100 feet wide, and the remaining lot is 135 feet wide. So they do meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and there's no multifamily component to any of this. So there were no technical comments. All of those were addressed by the workshop. So I'll be happy to answer questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. Any questions or comments from the board?
I do have one question for the engineer, if I could. We discussed at the workshop, just want to make sure.
Mr. Womble, if you can come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Danny Womble at Womble Associates, 40 Middleton Street, Nashville, Tennessee.
So we discussed at the workshop, and you said you would just clarify to ensure that the lots and the glide path were of the right angle and right approach to ensure there's no issues with the flight path, and
Correct.
the height of the buildings were below the requirements.
Correct. What I did was I took the easement document that had been recorded by the federal government. I calculated the elevation of the maximum permitted height of each house. And we were talking about, I think, lots 207, 208, but I went ahead and did it for all 14 lots. And then I drafted note number 29 that presents that information in that note and says that no houses would be permitted to extend above that elevation, which is the elevation that restricts the use of the land with the recorded easement.
That's great. I appreciate that. And with that, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. If we have no other questions, I think so. We'll entertain a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item. Final plat, Webb Estates, requested by Womble and Associates, property located on Hollandale Road and Morningside Drive, tax map 14, parcel 23.16 and 23.17, R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Abnon Shriebman. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This final plat is also for single-family development. This plat is proposing 11 residential lots, and the 11 lots are located on 7 acres total. And you can see this is the development that's on both sides of Morningside. And it's a thick, densely treed area, so that'll be one thing that's, I guess there'll be quite a bit of lumber taken off of this space. Here's some of the pictures of the corner there at Morningside and Hollandale. And then this house is not part of the property, it stays, but this is see the surveyor's flag out there, and a lot of trees. So there are some existing streetlights and they're located on the plan. One of them's right in here, and then there's another one on this side of the street. And other than that, they all meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and all the lots meet the minimum size requirements. So, and there were no technical items on this one either 2 weeks ago. So that's all been addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the board?
That's a question for staff. So we did actually have 2 technical items, removed roadway certification unless developer intends to make up roadway improvements.
That certification was removed from the plat that's in your packet, and the other note was review of the final construction plans was pending. At that time, those were completed and signed off, and Mr. Womble has those in hand.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept. We have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. On to the next item. Concept plan, Cherokee Drive subdivision requested by Catalyst Design Group, property located on Cherokee Drive, tax map 17C, parcel 31 and 32, R1 low-density residential zoning district, property owned by Waldron Enterprises LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This concept plan is for a 14.5-acre site located on Cherokee Drive. And you can see here it's outlined in blue. And this right here is a church. That's the Coptic Christian Church, also on Cherokee. And this is kind of an odd shape here, but there's 2 parcels involved, 30.01 and parcel 32. So that gets them the road frontage they need on Cherokee. So it's kind of odd. It gives you the impression that they're coming off of JFK, but they're not. There's no access to JFK. So these are the 2 parcels, and they're proposing 28 single-family lots. There's the zoning. It's already R1, and they're keeping the same zoning. They're not making a request to change any zoning. So those lots are shown. Here's the pictures. This is the end of Tipperary, stop sign at the end of Tipperary. So the site, the entrance is in this area where the trees are. Another photo. And one more there that shows this fence line. They did show on the resubmittal, they did identify their detention areas, which was a concern last 2 weeks ago. And they have shown the mail kiosks in your packets, and it's located in this area. And the lot count is still 28. We did have a comment about the any phasing, submittal of a phasing plan, but all 28 lots will be built at the same time. So there's no phasing plan. And that was tied to a comment about a construction traffic plan, but there's no need for the construction traffic plan because everything's done at the same time. And so their only access is going to be here off of Cherokee. I think that was it for the planning, and they've all been addressed. And I don't know if Mr. Leach wants to speak about it, but
They addressed all the comments I had, particularly in regards to at least showing their planned drainage. They've indicated that they'll provide a traffic study at the time of the preliminary plat, which is acceptable to me. If it's acceptable to the board is question at hand, but it would be a very minor traffic study of a 4-way stop, of which I don't think there will be any major findings to come out of it just due to the small size of the subdivision. So if the board doesn't mind, I felt we should just keep kind of rolling in my opinion. Other than that, all comments were addressed.
Do you just want to talk about the, number 10, it says some homes may have a low water pressure due to elevation differences. You want to talk about that? How was that overcome?
They added a comment that is on the plan, or excuse me, on the concept plan that's in your packet. It does state, I believe, on the bottom right corner that some homes may suffer from low water pressure. Essentially, due to the elevation of this site, which is relative to our Sanders water tank, if for some reason the tank was to get below 25-ish%, they would probably experience low water pressure as defined by the state of Tennessee. We probably wouldn't be able to get them that 20 PSI at the meter that they're looking for. And what we have found is somewhere around 30, 35 PSI. Most people tend to complain of low water pressure. So this is just us trying to get ahead of the low water pressure complaints.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments?
I understand that for the concept it's okay, but obviously as we move forward, we want to make sure that it's documented. Otherwise, when we start selling these lots as water pressure, you're going to get the phone calls.
Yes, sir.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item, request for recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for subdivision acceptance, Hampton Roads, Phase 3, 24 lots, property located off Jones Mill Road, south of Morningside Drive, R1 zoning district, property owned by George Alexander. Mr. Logan?
Thank you. Over the last several months, the various departments in the city have been going over their checklists and doing their final inspections on this site. And believe the road was paved about 3.5 weeks ago, somewhere in that range. And staff has not received any comments that there's any deficiencies or that anything has not been completed. So staff recommends approval. Thank you.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board? Let's start there.
I mean, we've been, you've done it, it was topped 3 weeks ago, so everyone's been, all departments are all happy that everyone's signed off on it?
Yes, sir. Water, sewer, engineering, stormwater, Bo, we've all been out there and inspected. The only item that was outstanding as of a week ago was a minor defect in the sidewalk, which has since been remedied. They've also provided draft copies of their irrevocable dedication, as well as a draft copy of their maintenance bond, which is required. So, and we have the as-built plans provided. So everything is in good order, at least from my perspective.
Then, Mr. Chairman, I'll send a favourable recommendation to Mayor Alban for the acceptance of the phase.
I have a favorable recommendation for the acceptance of Hampton Roads. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Final item, bonds and letters of credit.
Mr. Chairman, board, in front of you, you have a updated copy of the bonds, letters of credit, and no substantive change other than, you know, some new homes built, some things fall off the list occasionally. The only item of note is there is one bond that will expire on November the 18th. I'll be following up with the bank and developer to get that one updated. Everything else is in your packet.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for their time. I'd like to wish our board member, Miss Yvonne, get well soon for us, and meeting adjourned.